Hey guys, my name is Don and I'm from the YouTube channel, The Bitter Car Guy, and I am here scratching my head at Mark Zuckerberg and his new minivan. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right into it and talk about this. Hey everyone, so by now you should know who Mark Zuckerberg is. He is 40 years old and he is the second wealthiest person in the world. He is wealthier than Jeff Bezos, the guy who owns Amazon, and also Bill Gates, the guy who founded Microsoft. He is worth about over $200 billion. That's some serious money. And again, 40 years old, he's a male, allegedly, and he's married and a father. And he co-founded the social media service company Facebook and its parent company Meta. He owns about 13% of the company, and again, he is stinking rich. Now, as far as it comes to cars, from what I have seen with Mark Zuckerberg and his car collection, it's always been pretty basic. At one time, I heard he had a Honda Fit, which is a small, compact car. It's like a hatchback type car. I also saw that he had an Acura TSX, a Volkswagen Golf GTI MK6, and then I also heard he had a Pagani Huayra, and I don't know if that is true or not, but being a billionaire, you know, billionaires spend money and acquire things, so it's possible that he does have a Pagani. But to go from a Honda Fit to a Pagani, that's a huge spread. Recently on Instagram, someone asked him, "Hey Mark, what kind of car do you drive?" And he responded saying he drove the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing. Now, if you don't know what that is, it is an American-made car. It's made by Cadillac. It has a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 engine. It makes about 668 horsepower at 6,500 RPMs, and it goes from 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds if you are using the automatic transmission, or 3.6 if you're using a manual transmission, and it has a top speed of about 200 miles per hour. So that's some serious American muscle right there. Good car collection so far. So from a car perspective, pretty normal. I mean, a little bland for someone who's worth $200 billion, because I'm serious, if I had $200 billion, I would have a couple of Bugatti Chirons, some Koenigsegg's. I would have the most craziest car garage ever. But this is where it kind of gets crazy for Mark Zuckerberg. So the story is, and he posted this on his Instagram. I'll put the link to his Instagram reel in the description of this video. So please check it out after you watch this video. But in the meantime, like my video and subscribe to my channel. Do me a favor. But the story is, his wife came to him and said, "Hey Mark, I need a minivan," because, you know, they have a daughter, and when you have kids, kids have things, and when you go places, you have to carry their strollers and their day bags and all the stuff that you need to carry with you when you have kids. So obvious choice, yes, if the wife is independent, she drives herself, she would want to have something that is capable of taking her and the kids along for the ride. Now, I would think with $200 billion that you'd be rich enough to hire someone to drive the wife around, but maybe she has that independent streak where from time to time she may want to drive herself around and do things without having to be chaperoned and bodyguards and all that stuff. So anyway, she says, "Mark, I need a minivan." So he said, "Okay, let's go build a Porsche Minivan." Decided to pick a Porsche SUV on which to make this minivan, and not just any Porsche SUV. He got the fastest of the fastest Porsche SUV. He got the Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT, which is a twin turbo 4-liter V8 engine SUV that makes about 650 wheel horsepower and costs about $200,000. I don't think the money would be a problem for him, but still, it's an SUV that costs about $200,000. And at one point, it set the Nürburgring lap for the fastest SUV around the Nürburgring for a time of 7 minutes and 38 seconds back in 2021. So he bought this SUV with the aim of converting it from an SUV into a minivan. So who did Mark pick to do this build? Well, if you know anything about Pimp My Ride, you know West Coast Customs is the shop that was premiered in that video series on, was it MTV or VH1? But there was a series on either VH1 or MTV called Pimp My Ride, where people of minimal means would write in and say, hey, I need my car spiffed up for whatever reason. And West Coast Customs, with the host Exhibit, he was a rapper, they would take this car and transform it into the craziest of builds ever for the TV show. But those were the people that Mark went to have his Porsche Cayenne Turbo SUV converted into a minivan, and then he revealed it on his Instagram reel. That's how the world and myself was able to see it. And I am going to show it here on screen so you too can see the magnificence of a billionaire's creation. So this SUV was stretched. They added sliding doors to it to make ingress and egress into the back easier for his wife. Now, this is where I start to scratch my head. Being the wealthiest man in the world, I think a few phone calls to Porsche would have accomplished the same thing. They've done one-off builds for people in the past, and they've also produced a prototype minivan. So I think by calling the right people, pulling the right strings, they might have built this for you. While the color and the presentment of the minivan from West Coast Custom looks okay, I am beginning to doubt whether that thing drives as good as it should as a minivan. As a SUV, a performance SUV, not just any SUV, this was a performance SUV, held the record at the Nürburgring. This car drove kind of like stiff. It's a sports car, it's a performance SUV. So to take that, extend the wheelbase, and then, add weight to it, I think that might kind of throw off the balance that Porsche is known for in the performance world. So my thinking is the wife is probably going to drive this thing around for a few, but eventually she's probably going to replace this. This thing might get hung up on speed bumps wherever she goes because it looks really, really low in these pictures. And with the extended wheelbase from the lengthening, it would make getting over speed bumps a bit challenging, but we'll reserve judgment and see if in a few months he's gonna update his Instagram to indicate that maybe this was not the best of ideas. He didn't just buy the minivan, because the way he presented his reel was he did a twofer. So his wife wanted the minivan, and he got something for himself. It's like when your parents send you to the store to buy a soda or something, and they say, you know what, with the change, buy yourself something. So you go buy yourself a pack of gum or some candy or whatever. So Mark decided to get himself something, and he got himself something really, really good. He got himself a Porsche 911 992.1 GT3 Touring. Now, this is the one that I like. There are different variations of the GT3. So there's the base GT3, there's the GT3 Touring, and then the GT3 RS. The RS one, the wing and the color schemes and everything kind of throws me off. The GT3 Touring to me seems like the gentleman's approach to a racing car. So let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think Mark did a great thing by converting this Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT into a minivan? Do you like the color scheme? Do you think this works? Do you think it doesn't work? Also, what do you think about the car he bought for himself? Leave me some comments down below. Like my video, subscribe to the channel. Again, my name is Don. You're watching The Better Car Guy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.